Have you been spinning your wheels creating social media posts and don't seem to be able to get your signal through the noise? Me too. So share this and listen to this episode to find out how to get your social media posts seen. Hey, this is Brad Block, host of The Physician's Guide to Doctoring. This is a personal and professional development podcast for physicians where we have experts on the show that try to teach us everything we should have been learning while we were memorizing Krebs cycle. Welcome back to the podcast. On today's episode, we have a recovering New Yorker, like myself. We have Dr. Christina Schiavolino-Day, who is she's got a really interesting journey. So she's an internal medicine physician from New York, who then moved to Southwest Florida for her last year of training, and she's stayed there and worked there ever since, spending almost 20 years in traditional practice, and then afterwards opened up her own concierge practice, which she feels is the way she can practice the best medicine. Now, a couple of years ago, she, like many of us, dipped her toes into the side gig arena, and she started a blog on Instagram called Seize the Day with Dr. Day, and it just took off. And right now, she has over 300,000 Instagram followers, and that threw her into the world of digital marketing and passive income. She took courses, had one-to-one training with some of the big experts out there, and now she launched her own coaching program. She's got two. She's got a weight loss program for patients or anybody, and then physician coaching. So welcome to the show, Dr. Schiavolino-Day.
Thank you very much. It's a big pleasure to be here.
Well, thank you. So could you fill us in a little more about your journey? Because there is that was the quick version. So could you give us a little more detail about, I decided to blog on Instagram?
So the initial part was, as a concierge doctor, I do a lot for all of my patients, only about 200 of them, not 5,000, but for 200. And part of me always felt that I needed to give back to other people who couldn't spend the money and have my services. So on vacation, I decided to start a blog and to try to make everyone's life easier, just to give them more knowledge, give them more health tips, how to deal with a sprain, how to deal with a burn, how to deal with anything in our Florida ocean. And to my surprise, I expected to have a following of like 50 people that I would just keep on dealing with. And to my surprise, it just rose, and it rose to over 300,000. And I'm quite humbled by it. But people need the knowledge. They don't have time always to go and see their own doctors. And this is a great way to get some extra knowledge. I started the blog, and I did it the wrong way first. I would just give talks, and then I was told, no, you have to do it differently. And so I really took lots of classes. I learned, just really, I had to absorb it all because this was all foreign to me. I know how to do some computer stuff, but I'm not exactly the most tech-minded. And here I am now. I'm now making triple clones of myself inside the same film just to add a whole different view of, wow, just check it out, because you have to stop the scroll and get people to say, wow, that's really cool. So within my whole program, I started to get calls and emails from all these companies, and they were asking me to pitch for them or to be an affiliate, or can I wear this when I'm doing a talk? And this way they can get some credit, they can get some views. So I realized that I could monetize. And when I started learning about it, it was just amazing. So there's a whole aspect of ways of doing this, but I had my full-time job. So I was doing this after hours. So I've been spending about 2 hours per night doing this, making a reel for each of the blogs, making stories for each of the blogs. And quite frankly, I realized I could even do this full-time. It's just amazing how there's a lot of potential. And the fact is, I turned my attention to fellow doctors because I am 30 years into graduating. That's how old I am. It's very easy to get burnt out, very easy. And even as a concierge doctor, despite all of the myths and jokes about how we're twiddling our thumbs, I put in 15-hour days sometimes. It's just a matter of, you can burn out very, very easily. And this is a way to supplement your income, or if you're hungry, if you need more, you can actually drive your own patients into your practice by targeted marketing. I don't know if you know this, but you can actually, if you place an ad, you can actually tell them the age that you want, the gender, where exactly they live, what is their interest, and these ads are quite targeted to the demographic that you want. So people can use this as a way to drive patients into their practice by targeting ads to your local area. I can do it within 5 miles of my office. That's how targeted that this could be. So this is a great avenue for either driving patients to a practice because you just absolutely love what you do still. Then you get the veterans, the people who get a little snarky as they get older because they've been through all this. And we kind of want to back down a little bit, but we still need to make an income. So just to put it out there, I started coaching. I myself personally lost 60 pounds in this last year. With the stress of work and stress of everything and menopause, I gained a lot of weight. So I did it the proper way. There's a lot of stuff out there that is not healthy that, and you can get Ozempic online. It's scary. So I myself did it the correct way. And I am running a program on one of my blogs for women or men who need to lose weight. I'm focusing on significant weight. And this is a true thing. It's not just about losing the weight. It's about targeting all of the triggers that are causing the weight. Because face it, I can give someone a shot of something that they do every single week, but if they stop the shot and didn't improve anything, it's just not going to work and it's going to bounce back.
I just want to push back just because that wasn't the intended topic for the episode, that if you are on one of those medications and it's being prescribed by your physician, it's not, I don't want to cast judgment on this stuff, to say that to use the GLP antagonists or agonists is an incorrect way.
I actually use it as part of it because I became a pre-diabetic. The problem that I see, and I'll get off because you're going to probably edit this whole thing, is I actually see a lot, and I actually see it as a primary care. I see people go online, just go pay for the product. They're not being educated on how to improve their nutrition.
It has to be part of a comprehensive weight loss program, right? You've got to improve your habits. But for all of the countless patients that have done all of those things, and yet, now we have these drugs that lots of benefits to them.
Yes.
The thing that just gave me pause was the correct. But when you say correct, do you mean in terms of it being a part of a comprehensive program, not just in isolation?
Exactly. It's being used in a lot of places as the main way of losing weight. It's only one of 5 ways, one of 6 ways of the team effort.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. It's being pushed as there are some places that are like day spas and they're giving the medication while they're giving you a facial, because it's all ultimately the answer is it's complicated, as the answer is to many things. So, okay. So you do coaching for weight loss, but you also do the physician coaching for helping grow. Is it specifically an Instagram following?
So I am sticking with Instagram right now because although I do have pages on TikTok and Facebook and LinkedIn, Instagram is seen as the business page, as the place for where all of the businesses are done. So if you are a business site, you want to really focus on Instagram starting. So what I tell people is when they scale is when you start looking at the YouTube longer form things and things like that. But I would advise sticking with Instagram initially to grow a following to start off.
Because that's where the affiliates are. So the people that are looking to do business with you, with a physician, are looking to increase their own followings on Instagram, correct? Because I think of LinkedIn as the business place, but what you're saying is for this specific.
So you're looking for not just business people, you're looking for the average person also. And they're not always going to be on LinkedIn. So that's why you're looking for a social media platform. If I was purely looking for just physicians, which I am in one aspect, I could go on to LinkedIn and do that. I just have personally not chosen to do that as of yet. That's part of the scaling part. But most certainly, if you're just targeting a certain profession, then LinkedIn would be the next step.
So what's your process for content creation? When you're creating, you said 1 to 2 hours a night, you're creating reels. So what's your process?
So reels by themselves don't take as much time. It's just because once you get really good at it, they're 5 to 7 seconds long. It's a matter of you're not just posting. The goal of the whole process is to form a community, is to form a follower family. And you actually nurture that whole family. There are lots of different levels of communication going on. So you are on Instagram, but once a follower becomes loyal and they purchase or they get one of your free items, then you get their email. And by getting their email address, you then open up a whole nother level of talking through an email system. And that's when you nurture that relationship, you educate, you give value. And the fact is that when you do that, they tend to purchase things from you more. They tend to ask for things more. So from a business side, you will actually gain more if you form a really high value relationship with your viewer.
Okay, so you said you kind of hook them with the reel, and then you draw them in more with a giveaway. So would be an example of a giveaway.
Sure. So I did one this weekend. So what you do is you, taking a step back from that, you pick the niche that you want. Very essential. You have to pick your follower who you're targeting.
Yep.
If you are, and targeting sounds terrible, but that's just the lingo. We are looking towards one. So once you actually pick who you're talking to, you then have to come up with content. And the content can't be what you want to talk about. You have to figure out, in that person's shoes, what are they dealing with the most? What is their biggest pain point? What are they most frustrated about that they are trying to get help for? That's what you need to write your actual content on. And when you do that, you come up with the first topics. And you come up with those topics, but then, believe it or not, to do this well, you don't just want to talk about weight loss. You don't want to just talk about a nosebleed. You want to talk about something that will make the viewer feel like you're talking to them. So an example, with the weight loss, I actually, since I lost the weight, I did a very successful post on my putting on a dress that I could never fit into. And my post basically said, this is the feeling of what it is to finally fit into that dress. And that hit an emotional level of many women, because I said, you know what dress it is. It's in that part of the closet. That part of the closet that we have as when I lose 15 pounds, that's when I can wear it again. So you touch on emotional levels of things that people do on their own. And when you do that, people feel like you can relate to them. So the goal in your post, make it highly relatable. You have to write about something that someone else will say, I do that. I also have that. They're actually talking to me as if they know me. So then they start to actually want to listen to you because you're telling them things that they also have. Then you want to give them value. So yes, how do you do it? You have literally, it has been shown, 2 to 3 seconds to stop them from scrolling on to the next video. Okay. So when you make a reel, you literally have to make the first 2 to 3 seconds so inviting that they want to stop and read it. How do you do that? There's a visual hook, the type of video that you post. There's an auditory hook, the type of trendy music that you use. And then there's the text hook, which is the most important part, the first statement that you put to hook them in. Then it's a matter of, it's a quick 5-second video, and you give value in your caption. And it's really important that you actually give value. You don't just want to do a reel. You want to help all of the followers that are actually being kind and hitting follow. So in every caption, I actually talk about points to actually teach something. This last weekend, I did a video of my looking in my fridge. I put the camera in the fridge, opened up the fridge. It was my view looking, and I'm looking, and I did a thing of, I was told I have to have more protein, but I don't know what to eat. Then I said, for 10 protein-packed breakfast recipes, comment the word breakfast. That took off. So I got breakfast, and what happens when that happens? You send them the link that takes them to your store or to the freebie.
And then they send you the email, and now you've got your email list.
Now I've got the email list, which I can then continue helping them through Instagram and through the emails.
It's interesting. When you were describing how you were connecting with your clients or patients, or not sure how they would be defined. I guess not patients because it's not a doctor-patient relationship,
Clients,
but
right.
we've spoken to, she goes back, Dr. Una Entre MD. She says basically there are a bunch of people out there that need your help. And you refer to it as targeting, but really what you're saying is these are people that could benefit from my expertise. Like
Exactly.
I have to put my information out there in such a way that they find me. Like you said they're doing you a favor by following you, but at the same time,
They're learning.
you have valuable information that they would benefit from. So we need to be able to connect A and B. And then the other thing that you said was when you were talking about, having that dress in the back of the closet that you were able to fit in. We also did an episode on persuasion, and there are three different aspects to persuasion. There's your own character, there is logic, and then there's emotion. And so you were leveraging your own character. Like, I went through this, and I'm a medical professional, so you can trust me with this information. And then you used emotion because this is something that is emotional for people, right? I want to be able to get into that dress again. So you're leveraging those two aspects of persuasion. I just really think it's interesting how you describe that and how it works in with other things that we've covered on the show in the past.
Exactly. Well, yeah. And with the physician page, it's on the emotional side. There's so much burnout out there. There's so much, and that's why it's so easy for me to post on that, because
There's so much content around burnout. Like, there's so many podcasts
Exactly.
about, like,
Well-
that's why I try not to talk about burnout that much on the show, because there are plenty of other of my colleagues that are talking about it and effectively. So how do you get above the noise? How do you get find your signal in the noise?
Emotion. So that
Okay.
is to me the most potent way of getting people to stop and listen. So I basically, from doing this for 30 years, I can easily go into prime examples. I did a post this week where I was really focusing on the physicians that were females. It can happen to men, but this was an example of mine where I pretty much said, one of my biggest fears that I had was that my son, as a small baby, would call our nanny mom. And I put that out there because I would imagine most female physicians feel the same way. Or, many have gone through the fact
Yeah.
of they're just torn. They want to work. They've done all this training. They want to be there. And then all of a sudden they give birth. And they're torn between leaving their baby and going into work and then trying to do both jobs well. So I'm coming here talking a business sense, targeting niche and all that. But quite frankly, all that I'm doing is putting my emotional experiences out there, because that's what would help me. That's how I listen to things. And and to be putting it out there, I started this not to make money. I started this to truly help other people. And no matter what happens, I am going to keep doing that medical blog. And I'm just going to always do that, because helping people, there's just a feedback internally that you just feel great helping someone else.
But if you can do that while wearing a scrub that's going to sponsor the episode, why not? It's even better.
It's a win-win. I'm helping someone else, and I'm able to work less because I'm supplementing my income in a second way.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, it's also therapeutic when you talk about something and bring it out to the open. I'm kind of surprised that hospital administrators haven't contacted me to say, we kind of would like you to stop talking about that. But, just the whole attitude of, listen, I am going out there and saying there is a thing between physicians and the C-suite and administration and so forth. And I bring it up. I mean, the fact is that, so that's why I think I've done well so far in that aspect, because getting older, you're not afraid to open up your mouth and just say it. You lose your filter and it just comes right on out.
Oh, I've had some episodes where it turned into a little bit of a therapy session for me. It's therapeutic for us as well. So then, do you do the content creation all yourself, or do you have a team that you work with?
As of now, it's just me, myself, and I.
Okay.
So, you know how physicians are. We tend to be type AAA. We like to do things ourselves. It's kind of hard to, have other people help you with it. But at this point, I am still early on. I started last year. So I am growing it, and I'm doing it in such a way that, quite frankly, I don't need a team as of yet. Would it be nice for someone else to do it? Yeah, but I mean, I went through it.
It takes
So it's
some of the
easier.
authenticity away. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. How can I get someone else to come up with the feeling if they didn't go actually through it?
Yeah.
So for now, this is my baby. It's the thing that I'm doing. And I feel I have to be honest with it. And if there's one thing that everyone's going to get from me in regard to my followers is that I'm always frank and honest. It's not always to my benefit, but I'd rather always be on the authentic side than do something just for the sake of selling.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think your followers can see that too, right? Your followers can sense if you're being disingenuous about it, except for a few of those bots.
Bots, yeah. So I have bots, and I know that I have a certain amount of bots, but the fact is, if you get rid of the bots, Instagram might see you as a troubled account and push you to the side. So
Interesting.
so if you want to get rid of bots, you have to do it very slowly and do it slowly. Because there is an ability, because I got a message from Instagram and said, we believe you have this amount of bots. If you
Okay.
click on this button, you can get rid of them. If I get rid of 1,000 bots, at one point, that's going to be a problem. So
Okay.
the advice is, if you're going to, I manually delete them as I can, slowly each day. But bots are part of Instagram, unfortunately.
What's the advantage of getting rid of bots?
They muck up your engagement because your numbers
Oh,
go up. It's not numbers really. I mean, once again, someone who has 1,000 really targeted ideal followers who really show up every single day, are really interested in what you say, you can do really well with 1,000 of them, as opposed to someone who has 300,000 half bots. I don't know who would have that, but where they don't do anything. They're just taking an actual spot. But Instagram will send, a lot of people don't realize this. When you post, your followers don't all get it. They actually give it only to a few of your followers and to some non-followers. So if they're sending it to bots, you're going to go into
Yeah.
into a bad strait. So
Okay.
that's why bots are not good, except if it's a tool called ManyChat. That's a positive bot.
Well, you had said earlier that you boost your post, right? That's the button on the bottom right. It says boost. You can click it, and then you can customize who you want it to go out to. I sometimes boost some of my posts, and I'll say an age range and geographic range, and then I'll say like what I want them to be interested in. And there's only a couple things that, like, there's medicine, there's not medicine, but it's like medical residency or medical
Exactly.
school or medical education, something like that. But it's not like a Venn diagram. You're not looking at, it's more like X and Y and Z and 1 and 2 and 3, not an overlap, not like medical school and podcast. It's medical school
Exactly.
or pod. Yeah.
I do it mostly for the location. So
Okay.
if I'm trying to get someone who is in Florida, because my license is here right now, and if it's for the weight loss coaching part, it needs to be in the state of Florida. So I
Okay.
targeted towards a certain age group, the gender, and where. That to me was the most important part.
Okay.
For physicians, it's not easy to get physicians on Instagram. It's quite difficult, actually. So in all of my female-focused posts, I actually target, I hate that word because it sounds so businesslike. I actually focus on female doctor age groups in the childbearing years,
Yeah.
because that's the niche. That's who I'm actually writing that post for in that
Okay.
post. So that's the benefit of ads. It's not cheap. It's not what the price is when you hit boost. That's not the price. They have a separate billing system also.
But you can say how much you're willing to spend.
Yes, but
Yeah.
you will find another bill from Instagram that you get as well.
Uh-oh.
Yep,
What's that second bill?
it's a lot more.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not experienced enough or knowledgeable to
Yeah.
tell you the exact breakdown of how they
How they
actually
make it.
calculate.
Okay.
But TikTok does not do that. In regard to TikTok, what they tell you is it. When I first got that other bill, I was like, what is this? It was like $900, $1,000. It was a significant difference than just the thing. And when I looked it up on Instagram, they do bill depending on what they calculate. based
Oh,
on
wow.
what you're doing. So I always warn everyone, if you're going to boost, just know it's not that little price because it comes out saying, oh, it's only $40. I could do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There's another fee also.
Okay.
Look
Yes.
into the billing before you
How they
hit.
do it. Okay. Are there any tools you use for managing your social media? Like, do you use any programs like Buffer or something like that? Or do you just create the post and post it?
I create the post and post it, but there are 5 tools that I could not live without. Everyone
Okay.
who even wants to post needs to know Canva. Thousands of templates already made that can help you make a post. There's CapCut, where if you want to edit, to me, that is what you get. And you can get the free version. So CapCut is great for editing. If you want to
Okay.
do things, the extra special things, you need it. So then there's ManyChat, which is that bot. So let's say that you give a freebie, right? And I said comment breakfast. They have found by studies that the lowest amount of time delay in their asking for the information and they're getting it will be a benefit towards you. So if they ask for my freebie and if I wait 12 hours to give to them, they may have lost interest and they don't even care about it. Whereas if you give it to them immediately, then they're going to read it then and they're going to go on to further. And that's really more of a thing if you're selling something.
Yeah.
So what you do, there is a tool called ManyChat, which is a bot, but it's a positive bot. So what you're doing is you're telling it, okay, in all posts from now for the future, if I use the trigger point breakfast, you're going to send this. And then what it does is, if someone says breakfast, within 5 seconds, they get an answer, link sent, please go check your DMs, and you can customize that. And then they send the link to the DM. Why do you need that? Most people on Instagram have a private account, which means that I cannot send anything to anyone unless they take me as a friend first or they
Yeah.
accept it. Instagram allows ManyChat to send a link directly through. If they say the word breakfast, everyone in seconds got the link to my freebie inside of their DM.
So it's a workaround for
It's a
that
workaround.
privacy barrier that they put in.
It's a workaround. Now it's just for the workaround, but the thing is that once it got in, I can go in and start to send a DM. Otherwise, I could not. But Instagram approves this. It's not, it's
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
something that they said yes to.
Like some dark
So
web business. Yeah.
exactly. But this is where the you can make money day or night comes in because let's say that someone's up all night and at midnight when you're in bed sleeping, they want your pay for product.
Yeah.
And they hit the word, they get the trigger, they get the link, they go right to your store. They can buy it at 12:01 when you're sleeping and you wake up to being told that you had all these sales. So that's a positive bot and I would definitely get that. Then there are 2 other things of when someone finally gets something, you set up that email flow. And guess what? I set it up 6 months ago. And so for the next 6 emails, they're already set in line and someone gets put into that funnel
Yeah.
through the email system. So that's through StanStore or Flowdesk. So
Okay.
and those are email systems, store systems, and things like that. Those are the 5 things that I think everyone should have as a baseline. There are fancier helper things that you were talking about, but
Yeah.
those are the 5 basics that you need to have a business.
And that's for the business workflow that you're
Workflow.
referring to, where you hook them with the post that we talked about earlier. You hook them with a reel, and then they respond with a comment, and now they've gotten an email from you, a DM. You hook them with the reel, and then they respond that they're interested. You can then you offer them free content, so then they DM them, and then they message you back to get their email address, and then you have this automated email kind of back and
Actually,
forth that happens.
yeah, but it's even faster. When ManyChat gives them the message,
Yeah.
to get the link, they have to put their email in.
Yeah.
So it's automatically put in. But yeah, and it's not just a reel. The reel is what, in my experience, I've posted all the different types of posts. There's a
Yeah.
carousel, there's a long post, there are lots of different things. Reels are what people want to see. They're quick, they're fast, they're easy, as opposed to the carousel, which are great because they're educational, but people want to see a reel. They just want to see that.
We've got
It's quick
short
and
attention
fast.
spans, and we got to just face facts. Yeah. Well, if people want to, if one of our physician listeners wants to find you for coaching, right? Where do they find you?
So I have 2 Instagram posts. If they want to see the medical blog, it's at Seize the Day with Dr. Day. If they want to contact me about the actual blog for being on their own page, it's Blog Coach MD, also on Instagram.
Well, fantastic. Well, Dr. Christina Schiavolina Day, thank you so much for your time and for your expertise and what you're doing to help your patients and fellow physicians.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. So please share it or like it or comment on a social media post or write us a 5-star review. Thank us again for listening to The Physician's Guide to Doctoring.